Do you think ending earmarks is a token gesture, or do you think it's meaningful?
It's a token gesture, and in fact wouldn't reduce spending at all, since earmarks usually mean that there's a program, and instead of letting the bureaucrats spend all the money, Congress makes some of the decisions. The problem is chiefly the press. When bureaucrats make a decision, they usually decide how 95, 98% of the program's money will be spent. The press doesn't spend any attention on whether a bureaucrat is building a bridge to nowhere. If a politician earmarks money for a bad project, that is huge continuing national news. The fact is that some of the earmarks that Congress has approved in the past were not optimal. But when you compare that with some of the mistakes bureaucrats make, the mistakes are rather small.
Well, as you know, earmarks has become a good political issue. Many members have used it in their campaigns, and the general public thinks it's bad. So to talk about getting rid of it gets you political points. You're right, it does not represent a large share of the budget, but just as the federal employees' cuts does not represent a large share of the budget. But you know, when people began to talk about making cuts and wanting the public to think that they're working toward reducing the deficit, you hear these kinds of things.
It's very important that American people have confidence in their government. And right now, one of the reasons people are cynical is because of earmarks. They see members of Congress taking care of their district and not the national interest. And even if it saves a spit in the ocean compared to what the problem is, we're going to deal with the problem too. But this is very, very necessary. So I applaud the president, and I want you to know that within 2 weeks after the November election, both the House Republican and Senate Republicans agreed not to have any earmarks. And you know, I've been talking to enough Democrats. I believe a large share of Democrats are going to not have earmarks. So elections have consequences, and one of those consequences are we're on a platform of not having earmarks. We shouldn't have earmarks. We won't have earmarks. And whatever it saves, it's going to save.
If he were serious about the deficit, we'd get a balanced budget amendment and link that to raising the debt ceiling. That's what I've been calling for about a month now, is that we should link the vote on the debt ceiling to a balanced budget amendment. And that's the only way I can conceive of voting to raise the debt ceiling, is if we attach real budgetary reform.